What a journey it's been for former All Black coach Ian Foster. The full roller coaster, wins against all odds and depths of despair losses. Foster now coaches in Japan and is still loving what the role brings.
How's life in Japan for you so far?
Like, it's a big change, but in some ways it's a lot of it's the same. You know, the coaching, the players, you know, they're just like Kiwi boys. They're just really keen to learn, and a lot of youth, a lot of guys who are really, I guess, learning how to play at this level, and so I love that challenge.
Always loved the challenge. Before coaching, Ian had a stellar career playing in Waikato.
And you grew up in Putaruru, right?
Yeah, I was born in Putaruru, left when I was 5, went down south to Dunedin, Mosgiel, came back at the age of 13 to Tokoroa, so yeah, pretty born and bred South Waikato.
Your parents were kind of strong in looking after the community, I guess, so did you used to have people come to your house growing up, and you like met people from all walks of life? Yeah, we did, and I look back on that as a real light. That was a real blessing for me. You know, it was a great experience. You know, my dad was the barber in Putaruru when I was at kindergarten, and decided to become a minister. So we travelled down to Dunedin. That's where he trained, and so his role in the church was a big part of our life growing up. And there's always people in the house for meals, and that was awesome. And all these people that came in your life because your parents kind of got involved with helping people, did that kind of help you out as a coach?
Yeah, look, I don't know the answer, but I think it's a great grounding, you know, where like I didn't feel like as a family we weren't protected in a certain sort of a area of society. We spread ourselves across a whole range. We're exposed to a whole lot of different people, and exposed to people going through difficulties in life and all sorts of things, and quite humbling. And what I learnt, it's quite a privilege to be involved, to be allowed to be involved in other people's lives. And you think about coaching as we have a lot of positional power, I guess, because we're the coach and they're the players. But reality is that, you know, our job is to help them grow, help influence them, and to learn and develop. And that part that's what I love.
This is not the team that won the 2011 and 2015 Rugby World Cups.
As the decision over Ian Foster's coaching fate looms.
For Ian Foster, even in the wee hours, there's no escape from the reality of his performance being under review.
Ian Foster's reign as the All Blacks coach was tough. Every game, every decision, ruthlessly scrutinised. And, as always, unexpected losses bring out the worst in us, the media and the public.
Obviously, the media were pretty tough on you.
I thought you were terrible, so that's good.
I agree, and I mean, they're being tough on Razor now too. Did you ever forgive the media, I guess?
Look, the media just do their job. And so I don't begrudge that at all. I mean, ultimately, when you talk to the media, you're actually talking past the media to the people who are actually passionate about the game. And ultimately, they're the people that make their mind up about what they hear and what they see. And so no, I got no issues. People did what they did. It's ironic that, you know, some of the media gave us a chance they formed their opinions. Some were able to move on. So as we got better and better and better, we're able to see that and said accordingly. Some weren't. Some actually sort of got stuck in the fact they've already crucified me, so they're going to stay in that mode. So, you know, it is what it is. And the media do their job and we do ours, and like I said, it's no one else defines who you are. You know, people will try to, but it's up to you as an individual to decide whether you believe it, and I elected not to.
In February 2023, while Ian Foster was still the coach and with the World Cup later in the year, the NZRU made the unusual announcement that the All Blacks coaching job was up for grabs and other coaches could apply. Just 1 month later, the NZRU took it further, announcing that Scott Robertson would be the coach after the World Cup. For some, the timing showed ultimate disrespect to Foster. And couldn't it have waited until after the World Cup?
It was a tough year because for the New Zealand Rugby to kind of announce that another coach was going to take over after the World Cup, regardless of the result, I think even some of your critics sort of felt sorry for you in that sense. Did that throw you off at all, that kind of media commentary, that announcement?
Oh, look, I mean, I was pretty public at the time about my views on it. I've said my piece on that. I had no control over what was happening there. The only thing we could control was what we could control, and that was our performance on the park for the latter part of that year. Yeah, it changed the whole nature of the year. But at the end of the day, what am I proud of? I'm proud of the way that the team, particularly the leadership group in that team, just sort of dealt with the issues and said, right, okay, well, this may not be perfect for us, but we are going to do what we need to do. And to nearly get the job done in those conditions, I thought was pretty awesome. So the rest is, why worry about stuff you can't control? You know, it's we said our piece at the time and moved on.
With the rollercoaster year, many critics were predicting an early exit for the All Blacks at the World Cup. Despite losing their first ever pool match in history to France and the immense pressure put on them, the All Blacks would go on to knock out tournament favourites Ireland in the quarter-finals. They cruised through the semi-finals, and despite playing with only 14 men, Ian Foster and his team almost won the World Cup, losing by 1 point to the Springboks.
So I was just wondering, with the 23 World Cup, have you moved on from it yet, or do you still think about it, or?
Oh, the answer is both. You know, whenever I feel like I want to get depressed again, I'll go and think about it. And I look upon, I think, I look upon the game like that with mixed emotions, both good and bad. Like it's, yeah, we lost, but I also know everything that went into it and the story behind it, and so those sort of things. There was a lot of joy and pride and all that. There's a lot of great experiences, seeing players reacting to pressure, how they went about it, and so you know it's not just the result you dwell on. Yes, I often think about what could we have done differently to get another couple of points, but you're never going to change that.
I hope you don't get too depressed about it, because as a fan watching, I thought it was an amazing campaign, considering how much pressure you and the team were under, and like to come out and beat Ireland and beat Argentina in the semis, and to lose the final by 1 point when you're one player down. I just thought it was an incredible match from you guys and from you. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think it didn't surprise me, but I must admit, when I got home, you know, it was my third World Cup. I'd been through one that we won it in England, and then of course we lost the semi-final, got a bronze medal in Japan, went back, and this one, going back, having lost the final, I was interested to see how the country were going to respond, and but I think the whole team, we got so much support from our country, and I think
the fans were kind of okay with it, eh?
Well, I think we're okay, and it's almost like we're scared to be okay, because it's like, oh, we accept losing. But I don't think it's a matter of accepting losing. No one wants to lose, and we know that, and I think the country knew that. But I think there was a story underneath that I think the country saw the effort and the journey that team went through in those last 12, 18 months, and saw some character and some perseverance, I hope, that actually made them pretty proud at the end. So it was a good feeling.
No mai ki te ao with Moana. We're back in 25, looking at the world around us through a Māori lens, connecting the dots across Aotearoa and beyond. The politics, the people, the stuff that affects our whānau. We're here for you, challenging and celebrating as well, every Monday night on Whakaata Māori.
Sir Steve Hansen is regarded as one of our greatest All Black coaches. He dedicated 16 years to the All Blacks, 8 of those as the head coach.
So how do you keep the balance as an All Black coach with whānau and friends?
Well, I don't think you do, to be perfectly honest, because those people make a lot of sacrifices for you to be able to do the job. Yeah. And the balance isn't right. All you can do though is when you are home is try and be as present as you possibly can be, or when you're, but you can't say there's balance when you're away. You know, we were away over 200 and I think about 35 nights a year, so that's not really good family balance. But I was fortunate, had great support from my wife and Tash, and the kids were, you know, great, and they understood that there'd be some birthdays missed, and, you know, particularly, you know, Jess, you know, whose was in October, and we're always away on a tour, and I know that was tough on her, but at the same time, I guess we couldn't do anything about it.
Is it a highly stressful role, or could you go to sleep after some massive games, or when you've lost a game, or like, how do you switch off?
I think that's something you have to learn. You have to learn about a switch off, and you're no good to anyone if you're not sleeping, so I don't have too much trouble sleeping. I always felt that, you know, you had to be able to switch in and switch out. You couldn't be rugby all the time, otherwise it would drive you nuts. And it's not in my personality to be like that. So, you know, we always worked on a triangle that had performance at the top, and if we knew if we really wanted a performance, we had to have fun and learning in equal amounts. So the seesaw had to be level. Too much fun, you'd be too loose and you wouldn't get a performance, or too much serious learning, and, you know, everything became a chore, so you didn't get a performance. So it was a mixture of doing that, and to be able to do that, you have to do it yourself.
Can it be a lonely role being the head coach of a top team like that?
Oh, it's definitely lonely, because you're at the top and you've got to make some tough decisions, and some of those decisions hurt people. Yeah. And as I said earlier, you know, rugby's about creating a family environment, but it's also about the team first and the people in it second, and you're making decisions that you think at the time are right for the team. So, you know, that can leave you out on a limb, but it's what the team needs. So, you know, but then at other times you can be surrounded by people and still feel that loneliness.
For Ian Foster, being open with his whānau helped him get through the intensity of the job.
Being the All Black coach, it must be a stressful job. How do you kind of manage that?
You've got to value the other things in life, because otherwise the job can become all-encompassing. And so, you know, you can't just pay token attention to your family and your friends. They're the ones that are with you on the journey to get there, and they're there for you on the journey afterwards. So the key thing is to make sure you find time to share the journey with them when you're in there. If you're under pressure, you know, I used to share it with my family and friends what was going on, how I felt, and to make sure that people didn't sort of create too much tension worrying about me from the side. So that's kind of my secret.
Some players struggle with kind of retiring from high-level sports. Is it the same with coaches?
I think what we struggle with is the camaraderie and losing that. So when one day you wake up and there's nothing to do, it becomes, well, now what do I do? And you've also then got, if you're lucky enough to go high enough, you know, the big test matches, the atmosphere is exciting and it's adrenaline rush, and just walking out onto the stadium when it's full with, you know, 80,000 people, 60,000 people has got something about it. So that's not something you can do every day either.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's probably why I haven't, but I made a decision in 2023 to not talk to anyone else about a job till after the World Cup, and that's because I just felt our team had been through so much before that, and so many things were put out there, that I just wanted the team to know I was 100% in. So what that did is it meant when I got back from the World Cup, I was basically ineffectively lost a year coaching, because of all the overseas jobs were gone. And I was at peace with that, because I felt it was the right thing for the All Blacks for 2023. It also made me think about, well, what am I passionate about? And I've decided I'm passionate about coaching still. I'm going to keep growing, and then we'll one day there'll be a time to blow the whistle on it, but it's not right now.
What's something we don't know about Ian Foster? I guess, like we all know you out there, but what's something we don't know about you?
Ironically, when I first came to Japan, I tried to do something new every day.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I try to eat something different or go to a different place or challenge myself. And so like on a Friday night before a game, wherever we play in Japan, I've got Yoshi, the translator, and Ueno, our defence coach. We go and make sure that we find the local delicacy of wherever we are and try it. I like exploring and experimenting in that sort of areas and trying to get a handle on what means something to the community that we're playing in. So tasting some interesting things, but just enjoying that concept of doing something new.